Hello everybody, welcome back to Wolfeei, because today is day 21 of Daily December, and we're going to be talking about Block Wars in 2025, the future of Block Wars. I think this is a very important thing to talk about, and I want to talk about it publicly to an extent. Obviously, I can't reveal everything because I'm the organizer, and I know pretty much everything that is going on with Block Wars, but I want to talk about it publicly a little bit because the upcoming year is such a critical moment for Block Wars in comparison to MCC, because in my opinion at least, Block Wars Series 3 is comparable to MCC Season 2. And I think MCC Season 2 is one of the most important seasons. At least the 2021 first half of MCC Season 2 is the most important season of MCC. And I think comparatively, we are like halfway through that type of, progression. I think we've had some major developments happen already in Series 3 for Block Wars, similar-ish to MCC Season 2. Of course, it isn't 100% comparable because peak COVID numbers and peak COVID popularity is unbeatable. But we're doing pretty decent, I think, for ourselves at the start of Series 3. And I think 2025 is going to be that continuation throughout the series that's very, very reminiscent of MCC Season 2. However, let's strip back on that whole summary of what I think is going to happen, and let's go one by one. Starting at the very first possible question: when is the next Block Wars? Is there a break? No, there is not. All right, don't worry, my child. There is no break yet. There will be one at some point, probably around the middle of the year again, but it won't be nearly as long as this most recent one for the Series 3 launch. There's not going to be another 6-month gap, or was it 5-month gap? A huge amount of time, at least. There's not going to be another 5-month gap in between whatever the last... It's not going to be a series split, by the way. Whatever the last event is before the break we do, and then the first one after the break, it won't be 5 months. I think at most it'll be 3, but probably a little bit less than that. We'll see though. Anyways, yeah, we're gonna have an event in January, and considering we just had 2 back-to-back spin-off special events, it'll probably be a regular Block Wars 14 event. So if you're excited for that, then thumbs up. You're excited for that? I guess, I don't know. But that's probably what's going to happen at the start of the year. Then I assume we'll probably stick to special events, to regular events for a few events, because we just did, like mentioned, 2 back-to-back. And unless we come up with something unique, or if we have something in mind, then maybe you'd see a special event really soon, but I don't think that's going to happen. Because one of the main things that, based off of player feedback and based off of public feedback and etc., that I know is relevant and important, is that we want to kind of try to work on bulking out the Block Wars game roster a little bit. Maybe that means making some games return. Maybe that means making new games, which will probably take a little bit. So don't expect anything super soon. But we just had our big relaunch with Series 3, and we kind of rode that wave. And I think with 2025, at least at the start, it's time to lock back in and make some things that will be very exciting, of course, without a special little coat of spin-off paint, like a Rookies or a Twitch Rivals. So that will probably happen, if I had to guess. Probably, because keep in mind, I'm just saying this from what I would like to do. What I would like to do isn't going to be what happens for Block Wars, I'll tell you that right now. But I have influence to an extent, so I can just voice my opinion, my thoughts, my wishes, and we'll see whatever is possible, what fits and whatnot. Either way, yeah, I think we'll probably have some regular Block Wars events throughout the start of 2025, and then maybe we'll have a few special events. Something I would really like to do, but might not be possible anytime soon, is another Chaos event. I think that would be really fun. Block Wars Chaos 1, technically, I guess, was the first event we hosted, the last event we hosted of Series 2, and it was the first of its kind for Block Wars, at least, based off of, partially MCC scuffed, of course. And I would like to do it again. I think There's a lot of really fun moments about the first Chaos event. There's definitely some things that can be improved upon, which obviously would, if we are able to do another Chaos event, I will try to improve upon certain things. And yeah, overall, I think it'd just be very exciting and very fresh for Block Wars to have another different, consistent spin-off event to maybe happen like once a year, probably. I don't think we would do Chaos events super often, but probably like once a year, maybe twice if it's like really, really good and reusable. But I expect one of the next few special Block Wars events to maybe be a Chaos thing, if possible. At least I will make a push for it. I don't know if we'll be able to do it. Also, obviously, Rookies is not going to go anywhere. Rookies will probably be back for the 4th instance, probably in the first half of the year. I don't know exactly when the next Rookies would be, because we like to do them twice a year. So it's usually like a half a year gap between, but as you can see from 2024, because there was a break, there was a longer gap, so there's a chance we might have a longer gap between them again, but I don't know for sure. So that is interesting. And then also, obviously, another special spin-off Block Wars that very recently happened was Twitch Rivals. I genuinely have no clue if there will be another Block Wars Twitch Rivals. It was a positively received event, both for us and for Twitch. I know some of the people didn't, some of the viewers and players didn't love the delay in between games, but unfortunately, that is a requirement. So we would be very much down to do another Twitch Rivals event, but we don't know if that offer is available. So if there's another one, I will find out very soon, hopefully, and if I don't, then I might find out only a very little bit of time before you find out, so I don't know. I hope there's another Twitch Rivals Block Wars in 2025, but I cannot confirm or really anything along those lines. I've genuinely no clue if it'll be a thing that happens for sure. To strip back a little bit further, because I yapped and you know, went off of a tangent a little bit too much. To recap 2024 in terms of Block Wars events, we hosted 8 events in total, which was monthly schedule minus the 4-month break we took. So there was an event, Block Wars 10 in January, then Rookies in February, then we had Chaos in March, then in August we had 11, then 12, 13, the following months after. In November was Rookies, and then in December was Twitch Rivals. I assume that, you know, the break this year will probably not be nearly as long as the last one. There will be a break because it's just not sustainable for the staff team to keep pushing, you know, with new content and updates throughout the entire year. That's where we take a lesson from how MCC Season 3 went and go, maybe don't want that. So expect maybe 8, I think minimum 8 events this year, maximum 10, but I assume 9 is the most likely. So probably 9 Block Wars events this year, if I had to guess. Of course, like mentioned, I don't know for sure. This is just me guessing what would probably happen, but yeah, I think that's the most likely thing to expect. And furthermore, I don't know why I have this tab open, but there's some things this year that probably will be unique and fully, you know, original for Block Wars at least, which I cannot get into. I have some ideas. I cannot reveal what the ideas are, of course. You will find out when it's time for you to find out, which will be when it's announced publicly and officially. I will not be leaking any of that. But something that I do want to think about as well is players. I'm very curious to see what 2025 will bring in terms of the consistent roster that we'll have and who potentially gets added. One of the main things, of course, that is appealing for Block Wars is that we have, you know, a frequent amount of newcomers. We have people that, you know, play sometimes to kind of freshen things up, and I think that will mostly stay like that. I think we'll probably try to keep that up. But I do want to try to get some, you know, more out there newcomers. I think, for example, Papa Plat being in Twitch Rivals was fantastic. That was really cool. By the way, no clue when or if he would play again, but obviously that's an example of someone who's very much outside of the bubble that Block Wars is currently in, and would be really cool to have more people like him make an appearance in a Block Wars. Whether it's a one-time appearance or a regular appearance would be just really cool to kind of, poke into that audience a little bit if possible. So that'll be a goal that we might go for. It is very hard to do that, as much as we have been very successful with a lot of, players that have joined Block Wars, whether it's only for once or maybe a few rookies or whatever. There's many that we fail on. I cannot reveal who, by the way, before you ask. I'm not going to tell you which players we tried to get and didn't succeed with. But there's been plenty of people that we have attempted to get and either got no reply from or got a response from but ended up not being interested or whatever. So we'll try to branch out, but no guarantees. I don't know for sure if we're gonna be able to really evolve the roster that much further. I think you're gonna probably get a lot of the fan favorites as regulars, hopefully, for the respective events where they make sense to be regulars. You have your rookies exclusive players hopefully playing in, assuming both of the rookies this year if there are two, and maybe some of your regulars becoming more regular, or sorry, maybe some of the more popular people that play in the normal numbered events, maybe to be a bit more regular. That would be very fun, of course. But yeah, we'll see how things develop roster-wise. I have a few, newcomer ideas that I think would be really sick. Obviously, there's some people that were previously announced or are revealed that I would like to get in at some point, or at least get to play at some point. For example, Iron Mouse, of course, was announced to play, so at some point in the past, at least. So it'd be cool if we were able to get Mouse at some point. And Impulse, of course, also publicly known that he is interested in Block Wars, or at least is in some way or shape or form. We'll see if I can get him to sign up. And maybe he's interested, maybe not. We've had people in the past join the roster and then actually not end up signing up, so we'll see who will follow suit. There's other people, of course, as well, who've joined in the past, some that you don't know about and some that you do know about, and we'll try to get those people involved at some point in the roster as well. One thing that I really want to do player-wise, which is difficult, but we've had one example now, kind of, is for rookies specifically. I really want to get some more what's it called, esports-esque players. Your like It's Timmy's and your Zekins and your Super TF, I guess. That type of crowd where it's like people who are like gamers who will do well, but they're gonna be like kind of an anomaly, and like how well will they do? They're not gonna be bots in the roster. They're gonna do at least decent because they are gamers. They are gifted gamers. So I would like to get more people like that. Before you leave suggestions, just assume that whoever you want isn't going to be realistic, and we will see what we can pull off. I'm mainly relying on Anthos here, and I do not want to put too much pressure on anyone really to invite their friends or contacts or connections along. So we'll see. Either way, back on topic a little bit further in terms of the event itself. I read all the feedback that is left publicly and by players and everything, and I take notes where I think it is worthy to take notes. Obviously, there's some changes that have been pretty commonly mentioned for Block Wars. Expect those changes to be incorporated either directly or have, a lot of effect on what we actually end up doing. For example, Decision Donut. I'm fully aware Decision Donut is flawed. Changes need to be made. Eventually, that'll be done. A lot of things seem like they are simpler changes than they actually are, so I don't expect anything like that to be fixed immediately. Okay. I expect that to maybe by the time that we are past our break to be fixed, probably, because as much as this feedback is very common, it's very recent that this feedback is common, and we have things planned out, and there's multiple things that are requested to happen, and they cannot all happen simultaneously. We need to pick each thing separately and responsibly pick what to do when, and make sure that we don't just full send, for example, full send fixing Tomb Titans, because that would take multiple months. We can't just put all our resources on fixing that and just leave the rest to rot technically for a few events. We need to slowly but surely go fix this and go fix that, and maybe make a new game here, or maybe make a new game there, or maybe bring a game back, or whatever, right? We'll try to do things slowly. So just wanted to say that as kind of a reality check thing. Yes, we are going to be working on commonly discussed things to happen. I've mentioned some things on stream that I want to do that are planned, but it'll take time. It'll just take time. It's going to be a thing that will gradually be incorporated, and yeah, just wanted to make sure that you are aware of that for those of you who stick around as long as to this point of the video to watch. Either way, yeah, I think that's kind of gives you the picture for Block Wars. To kind of recap, Block Wars will be back in January with probably a few months back-to-back regular events. You'll probably get a spin-off or two thrown in there before we take a few months off, probably around the middle of the year. Then, obviously afterwards, we'll probably end the year with a few back-to-back month events as well, with probably a spin-off or two thrown in there as well. Should mention, by the way, we had a 4-4 regular event, spin-off event split. It'll be as close to 50-50 again, probably this time around, but I can't promise or guarantee that at all. Either way. So yeah, that's the schedule you should expect, okay? This is the kind of the format for Block Wars that'll probably be consistently followed. So a few events to start with some regular events, maybe a spin-off or two thrown in, break for a few months, and then end the year with a few events again, regular ones with maybe a spin-off or two again. Then secondly, roster-wise, I don't think we are going to break any records in terms of newcomers for Block Wars anytime soon again, all right? I think we are in our phase to kind of solidify the roster and obviously still keep some consistency in terms of adding new people to have some fresh faces join in every now and then. And obviously for rookies, there's a bit more wiggle room with that. But don't expect any major waves of newcomers in like regular events or anything like we did in Block Wars Series 2, at least at the start. I think similar to what the what the Series 3 events have looked like so far, you'll get a handful of newcomers sprinkled in wherever possible. Maybe no newcomers for the first event, depending on what room we have and who signs up, etc. But yeah, in terms of players, newcomer-wise, don't expect anything crazy. We'll still have newcomers consistently, but nothing over the top major. We don't want to cause too much bloat in the Block Wars player roster, because we're already at a very high number of players, but a lot of them are infrequent, of course, which is good. We like that. Thirdly, I guess, is in terms of the actual event itself, expect changes to happen actively, of course. Like mentioned, we're kind of in our MCC Season 2 arc where I feel like things developed pretty actively and things were fresh pretty actively. And I think that'll probably be the case as well. But also, as a reality check, you cannot expect us to have multiple major changes per event or per few events. There's at most going to be like a major change every 1 or 2 events, with some smaller changes like new maps or maybe some slight game improvements for the rest. That is just the most realistic expectation you should set for changes to Block Wars. However, we do hear the feedback, stuff like the decision donut, stuff like the game roster being smaller. All that is heard, all that will be looked into, but I cannot promise that any of that will be fixed immediately. We'll look into it long term. Anyways, I hope that catches you up to speed for Block Wars 2025. A bit of a transparency video showing kind of what to expect. I don't think any of the info I really gave is going to be, revolutionary information. I feel like most of this makes a lot of sense with the current state of the event. And yeah, we'll see how this year goes. I am hopeful. I think this was a major improvement year for the event. And I would like to see us continue to follow that trend in 2025. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.